average heart rate is 64. It's 86 right now. What you guys do?
Okay. This meeting is called to order at 6 o'clock. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. I want to remind everybody that we are being broadcast live over YouTube and also cable television. And we're going to begin with calling the roll. Clerk Wright.
Trustee Martin, who is absent and excused. Trustee Boyd. Trustee Frazier.
Here.
Trustee Miller.
Here.
Treasury Bud. The clerk is present. Supervisor McNair.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. An executive summary tonight will be the consent agenda, which will consist of the work study minutes, the board meeting minutes, prepaid lists, voucher lists, basically paying our day-to-day bills. There'll be approval of Deputy Treasurer Bellingham as the alternate to the South Huron Valley Utility Authority, and approval of updates to the purchasing policy, which were already brought forth. Unfinished business today will include discussion on the selection of Rolar Construction Corporation for Van Buren's Park Pavilion Replacement Project. That's a $360,000 project. We're also going to be discussion on the engineering and construction program proposal from PEA Group, a wonderful engineering group that we've been using lately for the Iron Belt Trail. It's moving ahead. There'll be discussion on the purchase of Lexpol policy program for the fire department, and discussion on a new Class C liquor license for my wife's favorite restaurant, the Cracker Barrel. And finally, discussion on selection of a pyrotechnic, the fireworks show will be the last thing we'll be here to approve. Moving forward on the agenda, can I get a motion for the approval of the agenda?
I make the motion, we approve the agenda as presented. Support.
Trustee Frazier and Trustee Miller. Hearing no discussions. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to the next item is adoption of the consent agenda. I'm not sure where I'm supposed to be, but Trustee Frazier, you probably haven't done it in a while. Would you like to do it?
For what?
Approval of the consent agenda?
No.
Okay. Trustee Miller, go ahead.
So the consent agenda will be as follows. Number 1, work study meeting minutes of April 19th, 2022. 2, board meeting minutes of April 19th, 2022. 3, prepaid list of April 21st, 2022. 4, prepaid list of April 28th, 2022. 5, voucher list of May 3rd, 2022. 6, approval of Deputy Treasurer Sean Bellingham as the alternate delegate to the South Huron Valley Utility Authority. 7, approval of updates to the purchasing policy.
Treasurer Bud. Okay, any discussion? I have a motion from Trustee Miller. I have support from Treasurer Bud. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? This motion passes. Public hearing, we have none. Correspondence, announcements, and presentations. I'm going to begin with Clerk Wright.
Okay. I would like to start the first of a series of announcements that we're going to be going in the board meeting up until the elections. All registered voters in Van Buren Township will be receiving a new voter registration card towards the end of May. We're prepping everything now and getting ready to send out. These cards will tell voters where their new voting location is after we had to redraw our precincts based on population. Any precincts that goes over 3,000 residents has to be redrawn, and we had a couple that reached that amount. Also, with the update to district and with the state of Michigan effort is going through, we use that to redistrict some of our boundaries. And also, we had a precinct that had to be was going to be closed, which is Haggerty. Elementary is closing, so that precinct is going to be relocated to Edgemont Elementary. So be on the lookout for your new registration card along with a map. It's going to come in an envelope just like this. If anybody's looking at it, for the 10,000 residents that's watching us, take a look at this. So you get this envelope, don't throw it away, take it out, your registration card, put it in your wallet or your purse, keep it with you. Also a map that's gonna tell you if your voting location has changed. Not everyone, but some will be changing, okay? We'll be doing this more often, like I said, until election day, so and we'll be putting out information on our social media platform and my Facebook page, so thank you.
Thank you. Treasurer Bud?
I just would like to announce this is probably a little bit of sadness, but one of our long-term ago employees, I got word that she has died. It was Linda Traska. She worked in the treasurer's office for a long time. She also worked back in the DPW with the guys back there. She worked there. When she left here, most of you might have known her as a waitress. She was that way, used to be called the Flags Restaurant on the Service Drive and in the south side. So she worked there. She worked at the restaurant Red Apple in town. She worked there. She was well known by a lot of people. She was friendly. She survived by her only daughter, Jennifer. So at this time, just wish to extend a lot of sympathy to her family and friends. And could we have a moment of silence, please?
Absolutely. Thank you. I would like to announce that we are in need of Meals on Wheels drivers for our Wayne County Meals on Wheels program to our residents in need are shut in their houses. If you're available 1 day or 5 days, but 1 day is great. 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Friday. Give our senior department a call and or tell your friends and see if they've got some time to take one of these days. Director Renault, could you come to the podium? I believe you have an announcement.
So in order to create the best possible visitor experience at the Belleville Area Museum, Van Buren and Charter Township, the city of Belleville, and Sumter Township are providing a museum visioning workshop as well as an online survey to gather insight and recommendations from the community. The museum visioning workshop will be held on Wednesday, June 1st from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Belleville Area District Library at 167 4th Street, Belleville, Michigan. Please join us and provide your input on making the Belleville Area Museum a memorable experience for all who visit. In the meantime, please take our online survey. It launched today. The link is posted on the main page of our website, under the Belleville Area Museum page of our website, and on social media. Thank you.
And we are keeping our partners in Sumter and Belleville up to speed on everything. And we've met as a team, the three communities, to discuss the vision. We're trying to make it as tri-community as possible. And I think maybe we should have one more of those meetings with that group for them. All right. I have nothing else to say. Anybody else on the board have any announcements? Hearing none. Okay, we're going to move on. Public comment. This is regarding business today, unfinished and new. People at the podium get 3 minutes on this.
And you get a chance to come back.
I'm usually pretty leaving. So long as, well, no, but so long as when I do this, you start wrapping up within a minute or so, I'm good.
Good evening, board. Since we're on camera now, glad to see you up there, glad to see the staff that was here. And we hammered out a few things. First thing I would like to ask is, did this board, because I'm getting old and I've been out of town a lot, did this board ever recognize the retirement of Joanne Montgomery? Because I haven't heard anything, and it wasn't in the last meeting, and she left in like a few weeks ago, in between the last board meeting. So the township president, not
we
you guys.
personally did.
We recognize it was a virtual meeting, not since we've been open, but we did on a virtual meeting.
Right, and that virtual meeting, like, I'm tired of COVID and this Zoom friend and all that other crap. Come down here and we hear about it, we can see it on TV or whatever. You guys need to say something to all 30,000 people that might be able to see this in the township, or 10,000 taxpayers, because she did a lot of work. Same way with Kathy Klein, they did a lot of work. We did a lot with Kathy.
Kathy did not want anything. She expressly said that.
We can still say it up there. She didn't have to have cake candles. but
We loved Kathy and Joanne.
This township would have failed without her and the old buildings. The second thing is, Ms. Traskas worked with at BIPS. I'm dating myself, before flags. So if people were here back in the 60s and 70s, you remember BIPS. The reason why it came up, supervisor, is because I couldn't see it online when you had an update to your purchasing policy, and there was nothing that was red or lined out or anything. Was there anything major that you guys did to change your purchasing policy?
No, it was, go ahead, Director Sumter.
No, it was, we just increased it from the $499 to
It
$1,000.
was the small ones, not the big ones.
No.
I'm worried about the big stuff where you're buying
Yeah.
a fire truck.
No, it was just getting too, we couldn't order paper for $1. So,
Right.
I remember about 9 months ago, you said if we needed a fire truck, you could do that based on our purchasing policy. That's not gonna work.
but if I ever tried to do that,
You won't.
yeah, I was.
Trust me, you won't get there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was the only two things was Joe Montgomery, and it should have been a non-agenda, but it just popped into my head. But you talked about the museum, so you opened up that can for a quick second. I've been a real stickler on why we're not doing nothing, hardly anything for the museum. You think I'm a bad attitude person up here, but I got something underneath my saddle. If Kathy Horse was alive, the lady that published the Water Under the Bridge, which knew everything in the skeleton of the bridge and told me where half of it was, or Bill Dome, I guarantee you that would be a brand new museum over there filled with everything, because that was her forte, was old history in the township. We got people in the township now that have been here for 10 years that don't know any of the history. We've got a real deep, rich history from the city of Bell, before it was Belleville, in the city of, is it Rawson or Raw or whatever it was? Sure.
It was Rossville Village.
Rawsonville Village, right? And then that, nobody even knows about those things.
Okay,
We need those things brought back to our museum.
thank you. And you'll have on June 1st, an opportunity to do that.
Thank you, I'll be there.
Okay, all right. Moving on. I'm sorry, oh, Reggie.
Red Giant, E-Course Road. Just a few things. I remember working at the school, the 10-hour a day, 4 days a week. It was really a disaster. Production was down. Now I know you only have one building, but we had multiple alarm calls, people going in buildings. But the main thing that hurt at the high school was production. And again, at the high school, we even staggered because you can't tell somebody you can't come to the high school on Fridays, you know. They probably could now because, well, we still can't even use the pool. And which kind of brought me to another subject. I understood that the Parks and Rec Department was supposed to be working with the school to have access for a community swim. We had that for decades at the high school until they built the new school. And we have a really nice pool up at the high school that belongs to the community. It doesn't just belong to the high school. And we were always able to use it. And I think, I know you've done a survey for the rec center, and one of the top things I think was a pool. I don't think anybody understands the liability or the cost operation of a pool better than I do. I run that pool up to school for quite a few years. But that being said, people said they wanted it and it's not gonna happen. So I don't put a lot in surveys because sometimes people tell you what you want, but you don't listen. But I would like to see the park, at least the Parks Department, work with the school to get the community access to that pool. It's a really nice pool. We deserve access to it. We have a pool, so with that being said, we don't need another pool. We have one, we just need access to it. Another thing is years ago, our road was reconditioned on a service drive and they took the snow fence down. Maybe they didn't know what it was, but when they plow E-Course Road in the winter, that snow goes right over that little medium onto my service drive. So if we get 4 inches, we wind up with 8 inches. And then I got a neighbor that thinks he's doing everybody a favor, and he tries to plow the road and pushes the 8 inches over by my driveway. But that was a snow fence. And they took that down when they done it, and it's, every year it's become more of a problem. Sometimes I have a hard time getting out of my driveway, because they go by 35, 40 miles an hour plowing snow. Some of you might have seen that video this winter on the freeway where that truck threw all that snow into the other lane. That's what's going on there. So I'd sure like to see that fence back up there. Plus all the garbage that blows off of E-course on the service drive. And I would like to see us take a little better care of the bridge. I can't tell you how many times this winter I wanted to come up here and complain about the amount of salt that these guys are throwing. The one day we got 4 or 5 inches of snow. They didn't even use a shovel. They threw buckets of salt. I called up to the DDA office to complain. You couldn't walk it. There were piles of salt. It was totally ridiculous. Special ed kids have more sense than that.
Fort Bridge?
Yeah.
Okay.
And and the bridge, when we go into town, there's just so much salt there that it was ridiculous. I mean, they had to go back and shovel the salt off. And that's what kills that bridge. That's why that bridge uptown looks like crap, because Belleville and Van Buren, we don't take care of it. It's lucky if it gets swept once a year. Now, all that sand that's laying in that roadside right now is contaminated with salt, the winter salt, and it's eating away at that concrete. Why can't we spend it? We got money for soap labels with our logo on it, our masks. Why can't we use calcium chloride on that bridge and our walks and have them do a better job? Sometimes they didn't even shovel it off. I thought we were supposed to, when you build this stuff, you got to take care of it. Thank you.
I'll bring it up. All right, anybody else? Nope. It's gotta be on the agenda. On the agenda is Cracker Barrels LLC. Is anybody here to speak about that? Okay.
Good evening, board.
Well, actually, he's here to speak about that. It's a public comment portion. Yeah, but we want to make sure that he gets to speak, because
Okay.
we're not really supposed to have him come up when we actually deal with the item.
I'm actually with Cracker Barrels, so
Good.
I didn't know what sort of questions you.
That's okay. You can come up with the agenda now? Okay, we'll hold off and talk to you in a few minutes.
Absolutely.
Okay, my apologies. All right, moving on. Unfinished business today. Discussion on to consider approval of selection of Rollout Construction Company for the Van Buren Parks Pavilion 1 and 3. Can I get them for $360,000? Can I get a motion? Clerk Wright, as a member of the Recreation Support. Should read it, Clerk Wright.
I'll make a motion to consider approval of selection of roller construction court for the Van Buren Park Pavilion 1 and 3 replacement project for $360,256.25.
Okay. Director Renaud.
Good evening again. As you know, parks and recreational amenities are a critical component of life in Van Buren Township. Pavilions are at the heart of our parks. They're the gathering place for families and friends to get together in an open air environment to share a picnic, take a break, or enjoy the outdoors and shaded comfort. Each year we play host to family reunions, weddings, baby showers, and much deserved graduation parties. The pavilions in the park serve year round, regardless of the weather, to provide shelter, a safe getaway space, and a place to create memories. At Van Buren Park, we have 3 pavilions, one of which was replaced in 2017. However, the remaining 2 are in a state of disrepair. The 2 older pavilions were built at least 30 years ago. The framework and poles are made of wood and are significantly showing the damage from weathering and insect infestation. These pavilions are aged, soffits are falling down, posts are pitted with termite activity, and among other issues, they have the general appearance of looking run down and unsafe. Van Buren Township's recreational amenities have been long known as exceptional facilities, enhancing living in our community. Updating the pavilions in the park will further that image by giving the township residents and others a safe and fulfilling experience in our parks. The pictures up on the screen are, this one is Pavilion 2, which is the one that we replaced in 2017. So this project was bid out. Bids were opened on January 24th, 2022. That was a few months ago because we were going after some grant funding that we did not receive. There are 3 bidders, with the lowest bidder being Roller Construction Co. for a cost of $360,265.25. Fishbeck, our township engineer, who engineered and designed the plans, will be managing the construction administration for the job. They reached out to prior clients of Roller, reached out for reference checks to ensure previous customers had a good, positive experience with Roller. Additionally, Roller actually did work at the Beck Ball Fields. They built the pavilion that was there in 2016. So if awarded, Roller would start work on the shop drawings and order the pavilions right away. Demo of the current pavilions at the park will occur mid-September. Almost all of our pavilions are rented out for the season, so we want to make sure we give the residents an opportunity to still use them this year. So we would complete the demo after Labor Day, once the rental season is over. And then this actually works out great because with the timing, the pavilions would be delivered at the end of September. So it works out well. And then work would continue through the end of October with a punch list occurring after that. And also Paul Kamer from Fishbeck is here to answer any questions that the board may have as well.
Any questions? This is not our first pavilion. So we did wait as long as we could for the grant. We were informed that we did not get it last week. And we kind of knew it was a long shot because, quite frankly, we were so successful the last 2 times we went for the grant. We probably had to give it to somebody else. So, but that's okay.
One quick question, if I may.
Yeah.
Director, will these pavilions have electricity?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
They'll have electricity and water that go to them. They'll be very similar to the aesthetic and function of this pavilion, which is Pavilion 2. The shape will be a little bit different, a little bit smaller. We're showing the need for a little bit of a smaller pavilion. So
And the completion date?
we're looking at the actual construction completion date of end of October, mid-November, but then obviously punch list items and restoration.
Sure. All right, thank you.
We are out to make money on these things, but quite frankly, they're one of the few income streams. When you match that with the booths, that happens. They break even at least. So, yeah, I see the numbers. Thank you. Okay, hearing no further discussion. Going to call this one. We have a motion by Clerk Wright, supported by Treasurer Trustee Frazier. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Stay right there, I think. Trustee Boynton, do you want to make the motion on the next item 2 and read it out?
Okay, I move that we approve the Iron Bell Trail Riggs Park Trailhead and Path Design Engineering and Construction Proposal from PEA Group for $48,500.
Support.
Director.
So for the last few years, Van Buren Township, as you know, has been working on closing the 6.4 mile gap of the Iron Bell Trail that goes through our community. The Iron Bell Trail, if you don't know, is a set of 2 trails that will span the state of Michigan. One for hiking, one for biking. It connects Ironwood in the Upper Peninsula and Belle Isle State Park in Detroit. When complete, the hiking trail will be 1,204 miles long, and the biking trail is 828 miles long.
How long was that again?
How long? The hiking trail across Michigan is 1,200 miles long, and the biking trail is 828 miles long.
I'm not walking it.
So in 2021, Section C was constructed on the saddle of Van Buren Park, and in 2022, we're planning to construct Section B and Section H. I can't say much now, but stay tuned for some exciting grant announcements within the next few months. So we're here tonight to discuss the approval of a design, engineering, and construction proposal from the PEA Group for $48,500 for the section of the trail that runs through Riggs Park. in addition to a trailhead on the corner of Martinsville and East River Drive in the park. So a trailhead is a great place to begin or end an adventure with a small parking lot, pit toilets, interpretive signage, maps of surrounding areas, and information on local businesses. A trailhead not only gives you information on the adventure that awaits, but also information on things to do afterwards, like local dining and shopping. It allows people from surrounding areas to meet up and begin an adventure together. Whether you're hiking or biking, a trailhead is the place to meet up with friends and start on your way. So this proposal from PEA covers conceptual planning, a topographic survey, tree survey, preliminary site engineering, construction drawings, and construction administration for the project. Once the construction drawings are complete, we would bid this project out and can hopefully construct this year in 2022. There's currently $250,000 allocated in our budget this year for this trailhead project. So PEA Group, just to give you some background, they've been engaged in the design or planning of over 70 miles of the Ironville Trail. Their work spans 20 separate communities. Examples of some of their projects include Ironville Trail work in Calhoun County that spans between Battle Creek and Concord. They recently completed the design and engineering for pathway improvements along the Downriver Linked Greenway, which is over 25 miles long and spans 10 separate communities between Flat Rock and Detroit. PEA Group has designed trailheads for the Ironville Trail in Battle Creek and in Oakland Township. Specifically in our area in Van Buren Township, PEA completed the gap analysis between Rawsonville Road and the Lower Huron Metro Park, which includes Springs Park. They have since completed construction drawings for section B, D, H, and J in DBT, section G in Belleville, and section L in Lower Huron Metro Park. Section H of the Ironville Trail is adjacent to Riggs Park and will hopefully be building that in 2023 as well. So Jeff Smith, Vice President and Director of Landscape Architecture from PEA, is here with us tonight as well. Questions for him?
Did you bring him up?
Come on up, Jeff.
I do that because it's very rare that we have an engineering group that does a lot of work with us and actually shows us how to get people to give us money to pay them. So I wanted to thank you for that. And explain that a lot of what he does is that kind of work. He finds grant money for us. So that's also a good thing. So we're very happy.
You look good.
I have, everything she said is, this is the Ironville Trail that we've talked about. I believe Jeff, what is it, 7.4 million for our section within our boundaries? Okay, yeah. And I believe how much, Director Renault, are we so far at?
As far as grant funding,
As far as grant funding?
we're looking at getting a couple of million maybe in the next couple months.
So we're going to be around 6, I believe, of the 7.4. And so far, you guys have kicked in about 100. So we're doing pretty good there. We're going to have to kick in sooner or later, though. All right.
Well worth it.
Yeah. I have no questions, anybody? No. All right, thank you. I have a motion by Trustee Boynton, support by Trustee Miller. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next item. This is consider approval of the purchase of Lexpol policy program for the fire department.
To the chair,
Thank you.
I make a motion that we approve the purchase of the Lexpol policy program for the fire department.
Support.
Go ahead. A fire chief.
Well,
Mackinac.
good evening, thank you. So the Lexapol policies are same company and same policy meaning that the police department used when we did their accreditation. We were due to go through our policies and procedures. This company helps out because they every year go through and vet them, check them, and make sure anything laws, changes, or wise, they identify those to us. We go through and make changes that are appropriate to us. And we do also get a discount using this company because police department.
Any questions? How much was this again? 21,959.
Okay.
Yeah. We can't keep up with all the rules, so. All right, I have no questions. Okay, I've got a motion by Treasurer Butt, supported by Trustee Miller, and I have no questions. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief McIntyre. That was good work. Pretty easy group.
We'd just like to say that the reason why we don't have any questions is because Chief McNair will do a great job of explaining his program before we vote on it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Power. Now, our next item is discussion on to consider approval of issuing a new Class C license for on-premise alcohol consumption and newly specially designated license to Cracker Barrel. Can I get a motion?
Supervisor, I'll make a motion to consider approval of the issuing a new Class C quota license for on-premise alcohol consumption and new specially designated license to Cracker Barrel.
Support. Okay, I got a motion, I got support. Director Powers, could you take over?
Sure thing. Thank you, Board, for your time tonight. As you heard, there is a request for a new Class C license for on-premise consumption of alcohol, as well as a SDM or specially designated merchant license for alcohol sales at 45525 North Interstate 94 Service Drive, which is the Cracker Barrel. This is not a very common type of request. It's actually for a new quota license for on-premise consumption for alcohol. We don't get those very often, but places like Applebee's and Twisted Rooster have the same type of licensing. There are 20 such licenses, to my understanding, available in the township and based on a quota system provided by the state of Michigan, and 12 are currently used. So this applicant would be seeking one of those quota licenses, one of those remaining ones. The rules guiding consideration of a Class C license are located in Chapter 6 of the Township's General Code of Ordinances. We don't come across those very often, and in fact, there have been recent policy changes by the Michigan Liquor Control Commission that remove some of the local decision-making related to some alcohol licenses. So other types of licenses you won't really see pass through the Board of Trustees. But in this case, because it is a new quota Class C license, the township attorney has advised us to follow the procedure that's in Chapter 6 that we've used historically in the past. So that's the procedure that we've used to process the application. It kind of falls, it's the kind of thing that falls under the purview of the Public Safety Department as well as the Planning and Building Department. So I'm glad to speak about it tonight. The rules that I'll be referring to come from Section 639 of that Chapter 6 of our General Code, and I'll summarize them quickly. And then I'd like to have a chance for the representative of Cracker Barrel to speak as well. The first requirement is that the name and address of the applicant is provided. There's an LLC that has taken ownership of the site, and they're called CBOCS Properties LLC. The applicant has provided that name and the citizenship and has noted that that's a Michigan corporation. The character of the business of the applicant needs to be provided, and it's basically a food service establishment, a restaurant. The length of time the applicant has been in business of that character must be provided in the application, and the applicant has provided in their the responses that they provided are in an affidavit that's also in your packet. But they've indicated that they have been under that ownership since 1991 at this site as a Cracker Barrel. But Cracker Barrel is the owner of this LLC and the parent company, and they own restaurants all over the country, and they have been in existence since 1969. Another required submittal is to describe the location and description of the premises or place of business where to be operated under such license. And again, that's on the North Service Drive at 45525 North Service Drive. Statement whether the applicant has operated or made application for a similar or another license on any premise other than described in the application. Well, they're working on doing that right now. This is one of several municipalities in Michigan and elsewhere where they are seeking to have this type of licensure for their business. So that's something that's underway in municipalities across Michigan, like with Van Buren Township. There needs to be a statement that the applicant has never been convicted of a felony that has been provided. that the applicant will not violate any of the laws of the state, the United States, or any ordinances of the township, or any administrative rules of any regulatory agency in the conduct of its business. That has also been provided. And then finally, this is the one that is close to home for me in what we look at in the building department. The application shall be accompanied by building or plot plans showing the entire structure and premises, and in particular, the specific areas where the license is to be utilized. The plan shall demonstrate adequate off-street parking, lighting, refuse disposal facilities, and where appropriate, adequate plans for sound barriers and noise control. I would just want to emphasize that because one of the things that we really need to look at from a zoning perspective and thinking in terms of what the planning commission looks at from a business development side is that this is not going to be a significant change of use. It's not going to be the introduction of a new bar. It is use of the existing space, using the existing seating in the restaurant. And that's what they provided in a floor plan showing basically the existing floor plan with, I believe it's 216 seats. That's the existing area where people will be served the alcohol. There's no new bar that's being proposed. And if there were ever in the future, that's something that in our department, we would flag as a change of use, and then potentially it could trigger a more extensive review with the planning commission. But at this time, there's no bar, and the alcohol that's being served will be stored and managed in the back of the restaurant where all the food and other beverage products are managed. So with that, the applicant has met all of the criteria under Chapter 6 of the Township's General Code. I've looked at this with the police chief, Jason Wright, and he has stated that he has no objections with this moving forward, citing some of the other restaurants that have this use, and looked at it with the township attorney as well. So we were comfortable bringing it to your consideration for review. And if you choose to vote in favor of this, then it will be this will go into a local resolution that has a format that's provided by the state of Michigan. So it'll be approved by the board and then sent back to the state MLCC. So with that, I've been coordinating with Mr. Belanca. I'm not sure if that's who's here tonight with Cracker Barrel, but if you'd like to come up and speak to it, I'm sure you'd be welcome to.
Thank you.
Hello. Hi there. Really what Cracker Barrel wants to do is just give our guests what they've been asking for, which is the opportunity to purchase a glass of wine or a mimosa or a cocktail with their meal. As we hit on, we have no plans at all to add a bar. There's no renovation plans. Pretty straightforward as far as how we're going to roll it out. It's being tested in multiple locations with great feedback. Pretty straightforward. As far as the safety security of our guests, obviously what happens is all of our management and all of our locations are serve safe, alcohol certified, which is sort of the premier stamp of approval with regards to responsible alcohol service. And then all of our servers and anybody at all that comes into contact with alcohol on site as well, obviously they've got to go through an alcohol training program as well. So we've covered all bases to keep our employees safe as well as our guests. That's pretty much the plan on our part. Our mission statement is pretty simple. It's just pleasing people and doing what our guests are asking for.
Any questions?
I have a question.
Cracker Barrel.
So does this mean I can have Irish cream in my coffee now?
That does sound good.
I just want to make a quick statement. Back in, I became clerk in 2008. In 2008, and the township used to have sole ownership of Class C licenses. And this, I don't know if some of you probably remember, I know Treasurer Bud do. This process would be go strictly through the board of trustees. The process was also through the clerk's office where we reach out and do primarily the same thing that Director Howard and Jason Wright is doing, do all the investigation. But we would meet with you and you would come in and do primarily the same thing. So the state took it over. I can't remember what year, but the state took it over and all the Class C licenses. I don't know what the money factor is involved in that right now, but they took that over and they do it and they sent us a notice primarily to ask us, the township or the city, do we have any issues with this applicant for the Class C license, and that's what we're doing right now.
Are there any other Cracker Barrels across the country that have these licenses?
Yeah, was sort of a test project that went live in multiple areas. So yeah, we have over 600 locations. And it is, the test is pretty much done. It's a go in a lot of markets right now. There are no Michigan locations currently serving alcohol.
No, there you go. All right, thank you.
Just because I'm all about Van Buren. Tell me, how's Cracker Barrel and Van Buren doing compared to the other sites in Michigan?
Yeah, we met informally and we discussed that. No, that our location is the top performing location in the state of Michigan. As a matter of fact, not only is it top performing, there really, quite honestly, is no close second. Bay City kind of comes close on occasion during the summer months and during the peak travel seasons. But no, Van Buren, this market's been a hot market for us.
Yeah, great. We love
We
kids.
like to eat out.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Is there any other questions? All right, I have a motion then by trustee Mueller, supported by trustee Pointer. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, next item. We're going to discuss to consider approval of the selection of a pyrotechnic fireworks as a contractor for the 2022 Van Buren Fireworks Show for $18,000.
I like that move.
Trustee Clerk Wright. Boynton. Sorry, go ahead. You can read it.
Consider approval of the selection of pyrotechnical as the contractor of the 2022 Van Buren Township Fireworks Show at a cost of 18 grand, correct?
I didn't know I was fighting.
Got it.
I didn't know I was gonna be following Cracker Barrel, but the only way you can follow Cracker Barrel is with fireworks.
Exactly.
All right, so we're ready.
So who made the support on that? Who made the second?
Boynton.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take it
Director,
away.
could you continue?
Yeah, so tonight we're bringing forward our 2022 Van Buren Township Fireworks Show. And I want to give you folks a little bit of background. So what we have done for many years, I'm not even sure how far this spans back, but we have always done a $10,000 fireworks show. Through the pandemic, there's a lot of price increases that have happened, a lot of different costs that businesses have shown that they've, expensed. And one thing that we've learned is that we can't continue with the $10,000 fireworks show. We put that out to bid and we got 0 bids. And the feedback we got from our companies was that there are some companies in the past that entertained that. It wasn't something that is financially feasible for them to do anymore. If you were doing a fireworks show, maybe for your family or something like that, there are companies that will do things that are smaller venue. But when you look at a municipality, we needed to increase the price. So that's why we increased to $18,000. And we reached out to 7 companies and we only had 2 bidders because that is still a low price for a fireworks show. So what we did was we looked at the information that we got and we had 2 companies, Pyrotechnico and Bad Bomber. I do also want to add that when I went to our annual conference this year, we had a session on fireworks. It was all about the fireworks shows that municipalities put on, the things to look for, the way to bid them out, questions to ask these companies, and also the mistakes that municipalities make. And one of the things that really stood out was a lot of places look for a show for a particular time period. And that's what we do. What we do is we put on concerts and we want the concert to last a certain amount of time. Or we have a magician that comes out and we need them to perform for a certain amount of time. And they said, well, this is something that we're making a mistake by, because what then vendors do is they take your time period and they spread those fireworks out rather than giving you a great performance. So we are looking for a great performance. I looked at our information from our 2 contractors, and in looking at them and comparing the 2,
Of course, we always look at safety, we look at what company, and anything we do is gonna give us the best show. So looking at fireworks and looking at these two companies, Pyrotechnico stood out. They came across more professional and also as a safer company. So one of the things that, in learning about fireworks displays, of course, safety is always paramount in anything we do. And if we were instructed that you want to look for a company that's going to electronically fire the fireworks show. And in asking our two companies, Pyrotechnico only does electronic fire. Bad Bomber can do both. They prefer to hand fire. And so it's our recommendation that we move forward with Pyrotechnico for the 2022 fireworks show. And in looking at our budgets for future shows, we may ask to increase that in looking for, we always say we're looking for more bang for our buck. One thing that they tell us is that when you're looking to fill out your fireworks show or you're looking to fill a certain amount of time, that you want to spend about $1,500 per minute for a show. And they layer the fireworks, the diameter of the shot tells you how high that they shoot. And so like a 1 inch diameter will shoot 100 feet, a 2 inch diameter firework will shoot 200 feet and so on. And so when they look at this, it's all about geometry. It's all about the physics and the chemistry of these things. And it's very scientific. And we sit back and we just enjoy it, where the company does all the hard work for us.
Any questions?
No.
No? Every year, it's fireworks, but yeah, trustee Frazier.
I think that the community really enjoys the fireworks show and looks forward to it. It's a way
Nice to come back.
to celebrate.
I have no further questions then. So hearing no further questions, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
All right, now next item is new business, which we have none. Reports, which we have none. And now we're at public comments for non-agenda items. Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak? Would you like to come up? Come on, you need to come to the microphone now. Thank you. Names are usually, you don't need to, but we'd love to hear them.
Good evening. My name is Sherry Hobson. I'm one of the board of directors for the Van Buren Detroit Belleville subdivision on Belleville and Ecorse Road. That's Bell Point Estates subdivision on Ecorse Road. And this is my neighbor. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tanda Owens. I am a resident of Bell Point Estates subdivision. I am also working to coordinate a neighborhood watch program within the subdivision. And we are here because we are trying to put together a Bell Point Estates spring clean fling. Now, this is something that we thought of after our but our board meeting that we had where some of the neighbors are seniors, disabled, and need help cleaning things out. So right after our COVID restrictions have lifted a little bit, we said, well, why don't we put something together? So we planned for it to be May 20th, 21st, and 22nd. We reached out to Waste Management for a special pickup to find out that they won't be able to assist us at this point in time. So it's gonna go to the regular pickup, which is Thursday, which is okay. So I reached out to the township to see if there are any funding for gloves, trash bags, or masks to help. Come to find out, at this time, I'm not for sure if they're gonna locate any, but we are in need to make sure that we have these spring cleanups, because sometimes, you know, it's hard for our seniors to get the things out on the curb, and even some of the residents with working and all. I believe in community partnership. So I have been in contact with Van Buren Township, not police officer, but Sergeant Schultz. And he's been working one-on-one, kind of trying to help facilitate this. So if there is a way that we can make this happen, we really want it to happen. You know, I don't know who to talk to, who to go to, but as of right now, Waste Management do not have.
You talk to that guy right there with a tie, and you give him your name and your number.
Okay.
Which I have, because we spoke, and I needed to talk with Miss Klein from Waste Management before I got back to
Okay,
got
you
back
talk
to you.
her, because she
I-
called me today.
I did. I talked to her today, and I talked to you on Wednesday.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I
Ms.
just want to
Klein,
say that.
Ms. Woodson, okay, we will see what we can do. We will try.
Okay, to make this happen on May 20th.
That's why they pick up.
Well, they probably want a dumpster if they're gonna be cleaning up somebody's houses.
Right, right, so what we
That's
want.
tough to get.
Okay,
But we maybe have a pickup truck that I can drive by there from Van Buren and take it to our dumpster.
well, whoever is available to help, we
Yeah.
really need this so we can keep our communities clean. I'm a retired officer for 27 years, and all I know how to do is put community projects together.
Thank you.
So when it comes to bridging the gap between law enforcement, city officials, and communities, it's very important to have this exist.
I am not gonna let this energy go to waste. We are gonna figure out a way to help you. That's right, Cliff, right?
We want to work with you all to keep the community clean. I mean, after coming out of COVID, everybody's been stuck in the house. My garage is filled. And sometimes, you know, during the course of the week, we don't have time to sit everything out. So on the weekend, it's best to do it. And if we have to have it in the driveways or on the curb between Monday and Thursday, that's going to be a long period of time.
Looks like, look right.
I know Sherry, but I know her personally. She worked up countless years with us for the elections. So thank you for that also. So, but I don't know if I let the supervisor handle the part with waste management, give you a special pickup, but I think I have some money left in my community outreach program. I can help you with some gloves and things of that nature. So if you know how to contact, you contact the clerk office in the morning and talk to one of the staff personnel, Danae or Brittany. We'll make sure you get gloves and stuff.
And I just want to say, Van Buren Township Police Department is doing an awesome job. And I'm not saying that because I'm pro law enforcement, but they are doing an awesome job.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just have one more comment for, I'm sorry, I just have one more comment for our subdivision. We're in a process of trying to put up what we call a school bus stop in our subdivision because our kids are being picked up. And in the morning, around about 6, they're in the street. So we're trying to lay some cement in our subdivision away from Delville Road so they can safely be out there. The only problem with that is that we've been told in the past that a part of that area was a Wayne County issue. And
It all is.
yeah, and we can't put, cement and stuff on Wayne County property, so we're trying to find out who we need to talk to help us survey that part of our entry to where we'll put it in the right place for our kids to stand, so they will not be standing in the street in the morning.
He's the guy that's, he'll tell me and then I'll go make the phone calls.
Oh, this guy.
We'll figure it out. I don't know that this is a solution, but we'll try.
I'll get in with you right after the meeting.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
John, I don't want to play the game with a 3 and a 2, so you got 5 and we'll stretch it a little bit, but not much. I know.
Actually, this is in regards to, and it's my fault, because I should have been here screaming and yelling a couple months ago. This is to do with our gateway signage that you've already approved of. The 300,000, which is respectively 177,000 and 119,000 for gateway signage. But when I did some research and looked at it, I just want to caveat this by saying for 25 years I've been a sign company. Never approached the township to solicit any work, and I'm not going to, and I'm retired. But I've seen where we've spent a lot of money that we shouldn't have. And these contractors that are coming in, I'm not going to name the names, but the sign company gave you a spiel about, one of your board members asked about solar lighting and having the lighting in some of these areas that they didn't have electrical. That's one of the biggest bogus things there are, just because you live in Michigan and it's cold and you don't get that much sun. There's called batteries that charge just like your ring stuff. So what it is those companies that tell you that are not updated, and they're just selling you their LED and their work that they have. They don't want to spend any money to go into it. So your ring cameras on the side of trees run fine. And there's batteries that take those charges throughout the year when the sun's up. They don't have to do it all the time. And there's many of your outlying communities that have HOAs that have signs going down Haggerty and Romulus. There's two neighborhoods there by Barth. They all have signs that have the little solar panels on top, and there's LED. Now, you're not gonna get a traffic or a motion sign or a reader sign like we put up at Vistion Village, but you can have stuff lit up, illuminated. So there needs to be better research done on these companies that come in and sell you these Jack and the Beanstalk things. And now I've got more time because I'm retiring, then I'm gonna be looking at these things, especially the signage, to say, this is what we need to do and not do, just because a contractor comes in and says they can't do it, and you're trusting that contractor. Well, I'm crying foul now, because contractors lie to you. It's been done more than once. 3 different sign companies for 3 different signs. And the issue that I have, though, is that my company alone, 15 years ago, we did 5 of the original welcome to Novi monument signs. Now they've got over 13. They've got, every time you turn around, Novi, there's a welcome to Novi sign. It's not just the borders anymore. And I hope Van Buren Township doesn't do that. A lot of communities are trying to put signs everywhere. And me being a sign company, that's shoot myself in the foot. But like I said, I'm not selling services to Van Buren Township. I'm just saying we don't need a ton of signs. In fact, we started going down to monument signs from the large signs. That was a state deal. The second thing I want to talk about real quick is road trash. 34th District Court is getting a lot of money out of this township and the 4 other communities to fund their road crews and things. They've built a whole nice garage out there and everything else in the last 10 years. And those 3 judges are just taking all that money from the township. And I don't see the road crews out cleaning. Now, I know we had COVID, but that was outdoors anyway. So you go down Van Born, you go down Born Tyler, and there's more trash there than going into Dearborn or Detroit on 94 or 75.
It's all bad enough.
So what's with the road crews that this township is paying, and they're getting, unless I missed something and they dissolve the road crew, but yet we're still paying the township, all 5 communities are still putting into that kitty over there so that Brian and Tina and whoever the other, our judge, Kevin's wife. So, but they're the purse strings that we give from the township to take care of that court in our community. And that's part of the road cleanup because we don't have a road cleanup. So it's looking real bad in the north end. I haven't even gone to the south end. It seems like the south end, farmers and everybody, they clean their areas. But the north end has been a trash dump. And guess what? We got a trash dump. And they can't drive 2 miles up to the trash dump and at least dump it in their driveway and they'll pick it up. They're trashing Morton Taylor and Van Born. Jason wasn't here. I'd ask Jason for the PD because he's usually.
If you want to call me later on, not later on, tomorrow, I will tell you everything you want to know.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, is there anybody else who wants to speak? Okay. Harry, now is there anybody from the board that wishes to make a comment?
Yeah,
Quick, right?
unfortunately, I had to caveat John Delaney on this comment regarding trash. You're absolutely right. The trash is just getting ridiculous, not only on Morton Taylor and E-Course, but Tyler Road, Belleville Road, all our roads. We need to do something regarding trash, cleaning up the trash.
Can I have 30 seconds to
I'm going to time you in the 30 then, okay?
What's happening though, is you used to be in the Wayne County Road Commission that we don't have anymore. The problem with the areas that I'm talking about in that trash is because the curb areas on the side of the road where you have the dirt off the snow line, that dirt is actually higher than the road now. We need to get Wayne County to scrape those back down at the angle because the water puddles up and the trash puddles up.
Your 30 seconds is up, but we've tried that.
Well,
they're fairly able to get guys. They don't have anybody. Everybody retired that had any
the
experience.
orange grader that sits over there. goes
And there's a
to-
guy in there that maybe been grading for a year, maybe a year. And we're gonna have him go down the road
That's where the
Rip up.
trash comes from, because it does not go into the ditch, it stays out because there's no.
Clerk Wright's right. It's never been worse. And it's partly because of this windstorms we've been getting. It's partly because the courts have changed the way they do business like community service. We have discovered that we need Kelly services and staffing groups, because that's who we're hiring to go up and down the roads now. We're literally hiring staffing groups now to clean our roadsides, because it's the only way we can pick it up. And we're still falling behind. I don't know what the answer is just yet.
Well, since we're the board meeting, I have a great idea. I am a president of a homeowner association too, and sometimes we have to, like you said, I believe in partnership with the community too. Sometimes we gotta clean our own and look for no one else to clean it, so we need the subdivisions to partner up and get out there and start and get out the groups. I remember when I first moved to Van Buren Township, we used to do that. We used to have a group of people from the subdivision, go out and clean Title Road, walk up and down Title Road and clean it. We got away from that. You gotta take care of your own. You gotta get back to the mentality. It takes a village to raise a kid, it also takes a village to clean the village. So we need to get back to cleaning our own.
Yeah. Or we could get wonderful companies that are concerned about the community like Cracker Barrel to adopt a road.
I like that idea.
Sorry, low hanging fruit, you're right here.
A good idea too.
It's a great idea.
Spread some of that well.
Does anybody else have any comments? Sorry.
I don't know I don't know the answers to this, but I do have something that has been on my mind recently. In the past 2 months, we have had an incident at the high school concerning a firearm. And I truly believe that it is something that definitely needs to be addressed, but we need to figure out something. I'll just say it that way. I don't have an answer for it, but I firmly believe that we need to have a plan put together so that we can protect our kids. And I really want everyone to listen to me. I really do. This is more important than building a community center. It's more important than paving Haggerty Road. It's more important than the water department. It's more important than anything because it's dealing with our kids. And just recently, we've had 2 kids make a very adult decision because they're afraid of not being at school, but they're afraid of the area that they have to go through to get from their home to the school. That's what they're afraid of. They're comfortable at school. They're afraid of what they have to go through in between home and the school. They've made an adult decision that's going to affect them for the rest of their lives. What the answer is, I don't know. What the antecedent incident is, I've heard a common thing from the superintendent of schools. I did speak with him. I spoke with the high school principal. And I've spoken with some of the folks that work also in the Board of Education. We need to do something with members of the Board of Education, members of the high school, members of our first responder units, and also on the governmental side, as far as the township, the state representatives. And we might as well invite Congressman or whomever our congressperson is going to be. It's going to be Debbie Dingle, but whoever the congressperson is going to be. Okay. I really would like to see that happen. If I have to sit on it, fine, I'll sit on it. But we need to find some resolution to this. It's not going to be overnight. I understand that. It may be a year, it may be 2 years. But we have to reverse what has been put into place by the kids being afraid of the area that they're walking through or the area that they're dealing with. To whereas they're bringing a firearm, and now I don't know if they're going to bring it to the school now. They'll hide it outside of the school or someplace else where Lord only knows what trouble it'll get them into. And this is going to follow them. This is going to follow them.
I agree that something needs to be done, but I think this is just my perspective. It's far beyond what this board can do. The issue that we're having is the problem with firearms. It's too accessible. Too many parents have firearms in their I tell everyone, I'm 61 years old. I raised 2 boys, and I made the conscious decision not to have a firearm in my house because of that. I didn't want to come home. I didn't want to get a phone call that someone, they figured out a way to get their hands on the gun and take it to school. But that's the main reason is accessibility of firearms and the parenting that allowing accessibility to firearms. Kids can't take a firearm to school if you don't have a firearm to take. They're taking the firearms from home and they're taking them to school and using them for a reason. I don't believe there's anything between the home and I think there's things that's going on in the school, the reason they're bringing the firearms to school.
But you see, that's why I brought up the point as far as with the superintendent and with the principal. In these 2 past incidents, I'll say, the kids have very firmly and very adamantly said, we're fine when we get to school. It's what we have to go through when we leave the house to get to the school. It's a multifaceted problem. What you said is very true. Absolutely. Firearms accessibility, it's crazy. It is. But there have been things done to the school systems, the depletion of funds, monies taken away, programs cut. That is a mitigating factor as well. The parents, whether they're good or they're bad, that's a mitigating factor. You know, it's a multifaceted problem, and we have to get together. We have to put our heads together, just like we're doing right here. Yeah, it's more than the township board thing, but the township board, along with the state board, along with the first responders, along with folks that work in mental health, along with people that work in the schools, we can come together and put together a plan to address this.
You guys, this board told me to do that 2 weeks ago. We've been working on that. We've got a mental health first aid ambulance that can come out here, whatever, for our cops. We're trying to work with mental health to get social workers, maybe even share with Canton. We just completed an interview for a bond to get a new school resource officer. It's going to take a couple months to get these things in line, but hopefully those are some of the solutions. And those were the things you guys mentioned last week, 2 weeks ago, that you guys wanted to start looking at. So we are moving toward that. We really are. We're not sitting on our hands. I talked to Pete a lot. I talked to him today. So
I'm not implying we're sitting
Open
back.
conversations. We need to be talking about this as a community. It's not on anyone's shoulders, one particular entity's shoulders, but we need to have real conversations about this because it isn't ending and there's tragedy after tragedy. So thank you.
Okay, are there any other comments? You, Bill?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Accept that?
Second.
Second, hearing no discussion, all in favor?